Women gather roots and nuts as daily life continues in the camp. A group of hunters sharpens their stone spearheads by a small fire. Hunters cooperatively carry a small kill back to the processing area. A woman skillfully butchers the animal with a sharp stone knife. Hides and meat are laid out on simple racks to dry in the prairie wind. The tribe moves with organized purpose throughout the semi-permanent camp. A man carves a new spear shaft from a piece of wood, chips flying. Women sort through gathered berries and wild vegetables in woven baskets. Kael stands watch on a high mound, his sharp eyes scanning the horizon. He slowly turns his head, his gaze fixing on a distant point. Kael crouches, listening intently, then signals a nearby hunter to be silent. His expression shifts from vigilance to concern as he heads back to camp. Young hunters find a startling track near a small pool of water. Close up, a large, deep footprint with sharp claw marks in the mud. The young hunters gather around the track, exchanging fearful gestures. One hunter urgently runs back towards the camp, signaling frantically. Reth looks up from his work as the hunter arrives with a hurried report. Reth immediately follows the hunter towards the track, Kael close behind. Reth kneels, examining every detail of the fresh, ominous footprint. He stands looking toward the distant forest with a grave expression. The entire camp begins a frantic rush to secure food and tools. Women quickly gather baskets and firewood, securing the area. Hunters bring weapons inside and barricade the entrances with heavy logs. Kael directs the hunters to light additional fires around the camp's perimeter. A temporary gate is slammed shut, securing the main entrance. The camp is silent in the dark, illuminated only by the flickering fires. A long, chilling howl echoes from the distance, startling the guards. A young hunter's trembling eyes stare into the oppressive darkness. A deeper, more ferocious growl sounds much closer this time. Reth and Kael exchange a worried glance, both gripping their spears tightly. Kael and his hunters stand guard, scanning the darkness beyond the firelight. A hunter throws a stone into the night, but hears only rustling leaves. An exhausted hunter remains vigilant despite his fatigue and lack of sleep. Reth patrols the perimeter, checking the barricades and listening for any sound. A massive, shadowy figure quickly darts past the edge of the firelight. A hunter shouts and points, and the others immediately aim their spears. Two huge beasts, possibly dire wolves, snarl at the fence, their eyes glowing. The hunters shout in unison, throwing stones and burning branches at the creatures. The beasts flinch but do not retreat, circling to find a weak point. Reth's thrown spear grazes a Volf's shoulder, making it yelp and back away. After a moment, the beasts finally turn and disappear into the darkness. The camp sighs in relief, but everyone remains on high alert. The next morning, an exhausted Reth and Kael survey the area. Reth draws a plan in the dirt, gesturing emphatically about the defenses.
We build here.
Kael nods, pointing out weak spots and suggesting improvements. Reth claps Kael's shoulder, entrusting him with the task of fortification. A group of men begins digging post holes around the camp's perimeter. Another group uses stone axes to chop down large, thorny branches. The tribe members work together, dragging the heavy logs into the holes. They pack dirt and stones around the base to secure the new fence posts. A man uses a stone axe to sharpen the tops of the posts into deadly spikes. Women and elders gather and braid strong vines into natural rope. They use the braided vines to lash the fence posts securely together. A sturdy, primitive fence begins to take shape around the entire camp. A man tests the fence's strength, pushing against it with all his might. Kael directs the construction of a reinforced gate at the main entrance.
Harder.
They create a simple sliding gate from smaller logs bound together. A heavy wooden bar is carved to serve as a sturdy lock for the gate. A woman strings together shells and small bones onto a long vine. Kael hangs these strings on the fence as a primitive alarm system.
Quietly. That's it.
A gentle breeze creates a soft clattering sound from the bone chimes. Reth directs the placement of more fire pits just inside the new fence. Tribe members stack firewood near the pits, ready for the night watch. A woman carefully tends a fire, stoking it to burn more brightly. At night, a ring of fire provides a comforting barrier of light and warmth. While on watch, a hunter spots a concerning sight on the horizon. A large column of dark smoke is rising in the far distance. Reth looks up, his expression turning thoughtful and concerned. Other tribe members stop their work to point at the distant smoke. The wind begins to pick up, whipping dust and leaves around the camp. Pushed by the wind, the column of smoke begins to move rapidly towards them. Reth points to the approaching smoke, signaling the new danger. A small ember carried by the wind lands near a startled woman. Women cry out in alarm as more embers begin to fall into the camp. Hunters jump to their feet, staring in horror at the approaching fire. A sense of panic spreads as people look for a place to shelter. Kael raises his hands, trying to calm the tribe, though he too is tense. The air grows noticeably hotter as ash begins to rain down on everyone. A man shields his face from the heat and swirling ash. An ominous red-orange glow appears on the horizon, growing larger. A flock of large birds screeches overhead, fleeing from the fire. Reth raises his arms, commanding everyone's attention with his presence. He points to the fire, then sweeps his arm to indicate the land around the camp. With clear gestures, he quickly divides the tribe into work groups. Kael understands and immediately rallies the hunters with powerful calls.
Now! To arms! Quick!
The tribe begins working frantically to clear the land around the camp. They use bare hands and simple tools to uproot all grass and shrubs. A woman rapidly scrapes away dry leaves and small twigs from the ground. Sweat pours from a man as he uses a large stone to clear thick turf. A wide, clear fire break begins to form a protective circle around the camp. Some use spears to churn the topsoil, burying any flammable material. Others quickly toss the cleared vegetation far away from the fire break. Kael and the strongest hunters stand watch on the far side of the fire break. Kael carefully uses a torch to set a controlled fire outside the barrier. The small flame catches and begins to burn slowly towards the main fire. The hunters closely monitor the backfire, ensuring it doesn't spread inward. The controlled fire consumes fuel before the massive wildfire can reach it. The intense heat from both fires meets, creating an invisible barrier. A hunter uses a large branch to beat out any sparks that cross the line. The rest of the tribe stands ready to fight any smaller fires that jump over. A man beats a patch of burning grass with a large, leafy branch. A woman uses a wet animal hide to smother flames near the fence. A hunter flinches from a hot ember, his face smudged but determined. Kael shouts orders, directing people to the most dangerous flare-ups. A group throws dirt and sand onto the flames, trying to suffocate them. The area is shrouded in smoke as figures dart about, battling the fire. The great fire finally reaches the fire break and begins to weaken. The last small flame flickers out, leaving only glowing red embers. A vast, scorched landscape surrounds the untouched camp. Exhausted tribe members collapse to the ground, covered in soot and ash. Reth looks out at the burnt land, a deep sense of relief on his face. A woman coughs from the smoke, then shares a weak smile of survival.
We made it.
Reth and Kael inspect the perimeter fence for any significant damage. They test the heat of the ash, assessing if the area is now safe. Reth gathers the tribe, his expression serious but proud. He points to the fence and the fires, signaling they must always be maintained. He gestures for a rotating night watch, emphasizing constant vigilance. Kael stands beside him, nodding firmly in support of the new rules. Reth stands alone on a high mound, watching the sunset over the prairie. He breathes a long sigh, but his eyes are firm with resolve. The camp stands in the midst of the burnt land, a testament to their survival.